Welcome to part 2 of building the haunted mansion in Planet Coaster. And the first thing you'll notice is actually the resolution is a bit strange. I have some black bars at the side because the videos recently didn't record in the right format for some reason, and there was nothing much I could do about that. I think that was caused by the fact that I have both my screens running at the same time. I have two screens hooked up to my computer, and one is for entertainment and one is for video games. And they were both running, and usually I should put one screen on. Anyway, I digress. That's nothing to do with this build, it's just an explanation for why the format is a bit wrong. But it should be okay in the future. And in this episode, you will see me finish off the finale, the front part of the Haunted Mansion. The Haunted Mansion is sort of set on a corner when you enter it, and you can see two distinct angles with the balconies, and that is what I was trying to get right, just to make sure it had the right oomph, the right look to it. Basically, it was a bit more complicated than the other side because I think as I explained before, there was no pillars to put there, and everything had to be created with the wooden panels. And I think it sort of looks okay, in the very end. It was the best I could do, but I quite like how it turned out. And you have to get this part of the building right to really sell it as the Haunted Mansion. And I think it did okay. It wasn't the most difficult part of the build. The most difficult part will come later. That was the very top part of the building. I don't know how to describe it, like the tower where you see the hanging man in the elevator. I had to really build that in a really strange way because it was so small, and because I had to get it in the right angle. I couldn't just build it the size of the square on the piece, or the size of a quarter or half the square. It was really quite difficult because it was sort of sculpted as it was. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but that was the most difficult part. You will see in due time when that comes in the last part. That was something I spent the most amount of time on, because that really had to look right. Because it otherwise would look a bit strange. It was either too big or too small, and I didn't ever like how it was turning out. But I think it turned out okay in the end, so that's good. That's good. So after which that is done, I think I move on to the back. And I don't think that comes in this episode, I think that comes in the next episode. And the back was really not difficult, but I don't know if it really correlates to the real building back. Because behind the Haunted Mansion is a huge grey building, boring building with nothing on the background. That's all hidden away, and that's where the ride is. So looking up plans for the Haunted Mansion online, I mean, the Haunted Mansion has a huge fan base, and a lot of people make up their own backs for it because they like to make 3D models, or they like to make paper models, which has been very helpful, looking at the people make the paper models. And they make up their own back, which is sort of what they think if it was a real house it would look like, and that's what I've done with the back. Because it's not a real ride, it's just a sort of, a showpiece, and, I'm sure you can build your own ride onto it, but, and that would be cool to see, actually, if people actually wanted to recreate the Haunted Mansion. That would be cool to see. But if they want to do that, they can still do that. They can take away the back and put in a dark ride, and that was my reasoning behind it. Because the back was not as important in getting right, it has to be, it has to correlate to the design of the house. And as you can see here, because the roof, there was no small enough roofs to make that sort of balcony area, I had to make one out of wood paneling. I hope it's not too obvious. I sort of thought it was the best thing I can come up for roofs, and you don't really notice it. Maybe that's the first time any of you have noticed it, but that was really the best I could do, and I'm quite happy with how that ended up. It was a decent solution to that problem. Sometimes I think there aren't enough roof pieces, but you have to think of sort of smart little solutions to get over problems with lack of pieces. I'm still waiting for an ability to turn archways upside down and to the sides, and the modular building tool isn't as free as the object placement tool. I don't know if they could actually implement what I want in that regard, but I've wanted that ability for a while, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to come. Oh well. you know, I can still probably think of other ways to implement things that I can't do. I mean, that's half the fun of this game. It's sort of, you know, working out the limitations and thinking to myself, well, I could actually do this instead and that would work. And, you know, I feel very satisfied if it works. And, you know, and usually I can get something to work, usually. I mean, they have a lot of tools in this game. I mean, they have a lot of objects and a lot of different things. So, you know, it's a lot easier since Alpha 3 was released than before. Definitely, because there's so many new objects and features and things. Yeah. Actually, what I've been thinking to actually, what I've been thinking to myself is that I do actually want some smaller pieces. I think even the wood panels are too long sometimes, and I would like to make some even smaller things. The banisters, as you can see, are a tiny bit too high for this building. I mean, they should come down a bit lower. I mean, the actual balcony banisters are much more ornate, and they're not flat pieces. They have all these different intricate designs and floric patterns, and you know, they are really elaborate, and that was the best I could do. But they also are a bit lower. When I do place a sort of person there, you know, those animatronic people like one of the soldiers, it's a bit too high in relation to a human being. They would never build it that high, and it wasn't that high in real life. That's the only main difference I can sort of think. I mean, there are a few differences between this building and the real Haunted Mansion because of aesthetic reasons or because of facts of things not working, but that was one of the biggest obstacles to overcome. The less, I mean, it's less important getting the sort of, you know, tower bit right because you don't see it as intensely. But you know, I think it looks okay. I think it was a decent enough attempt, and you know, it seems to sell it as a Haunted Mansion, definitely, because you know, I used those floric pattern arches things as well, and I think they combine and they sort of pull it off in a way that sort of satisfies me. On that note, I will leave it there, and I will see you in part 3, where hopefully I have a lot more to talk about and a lot more to show in the building of the Haunted Mansion. I mean, it definitely comes the gazebo soon. I mean, I'm just finishing off the back in the next episode, and I will be moving on to the sort of the chimneys and the other parts, and at the very end comes the lighting and the fenced area around the building. So there's still quite a lot to see, and I hope I will see you then. Bye for now, and thank you for watching. Thanks for watching this video, and if you want to see more, you can click in one of these boxes and it will lead you to more of my videos. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe. And if you... I don't know what else to say. Well, that's it. So yeah, enjoy.